You were not born lost. You were made to forget. Somewhere between the first day of school and the last time you cried without apologizing for it, something was taken from you. Not by accident. Not by cruelty. By design. The system did not need your obedience. It needed something far more complete than that. It needed your consent. And to get your consent, it first needed to make you forget that you ever had a choice. Think about the last time you felt, truly felt, that your life belonged to you. Not the life you are supposed to want. Not the career that was approved. Not the version of yourself that photographs well and answers emails on time. The raw, unedited, unnamed version of you. Can you remember it? Most people cannot. And that forgetting, that specific, engineered amnesia, is what this is about. We call it the Great Amnesia. It is not a metaphor. It is a mechanism. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. From the moment your nervous system was soft enough to receive impressions, the world began writing its code into you. It told you what was worth wanting. It told you what was worth fearing. It told you who you were, and crucially, it told you who you were not. It gave you a mask for every room you entered. The mask of the good student. The mask of the responsible adult. The mask of someone who has everything under control. And here is the terrible elegance of it. You began to confuse the mask for your face. The fears they planted, they are not your fears. They are inherited. They are borrowed anxieties from people who were themselves wearing borrowed masks. The thoughts that repeat in your head at 3 a.m, the ones that sound so personal, so intimate, most of them were not born inside you. They were installed. And the noise. Consider the noise. Constant. Relentless. Curated. Your attention has been colonized. Every notification, every headline, every algorithmically perfected piece of content exists to prevent one specific thing. Silence. Because in silence, you might remember. You might remember that before you were a job title, you were a pulse. Before you were a set of opinions, you were a presence. Before they gave you a name, you were something that could not be named. That unnamed thing, that is what we are going to find. Not by learning something new. By remembering something ancient. Something that was yours before the world got to you. The path back is not comfortable. I will not pretend otherwise. There will be a moment, somewhere in what follows, where you will feel a strange grief. A mourning for the years you spent in the wrong life. Let it come. That grief is proof you are waking up. Because the alternative is worse. The alternative is continuing to live in a life that fits you the way a costume fits, convincing from a distance, suffocating up close. You were not built for that. You were built for something that does not yet have a name in the language the system gave you. But your body knows it. Your body has always known it. What I am about to share with you is not philosophy. It is not self-help. It is a set of ancient, precision-calibrated instruments, rediscovered, refined, for finding your way back to the original signal. The signal that is you. There are 3 stages to what follows. And 7 specific practices that will activate what the amnesia suppressed. We begin now. The first stage is the most disorienting. Because it asks you to become a detective, investigating your own mind, and to be willing to find that most of what is in there does not belong to you. Every thought you have carries a fingerprint. And if you look closely, really closely, most of those fingerprints are not yours. They belong to the teacher who told you that you were not quite good enough. To the parent who smiled more when you were quiet. To a culture that decided your value was tied to your productivity. To recognize a borrowed thought, there is a specific sensation. It feels like a tightening. A constriction. as if the thought is wearing a collar. Your true thoughts, the thoughts that arise from your original nature, feel different. They feel like expansion, like something opening in the chest. The practice of the first stage is simple, mercilessly simple. When a thought arises, especially a limiting one, you ask a single question: did I choose this? Not, is it true? Not, is it useful? Not even, does it hurt? Simply, did I choose this? If the answer is no, and it will be no, far more often than is comfortable, you observe it. You do not fight it. Fighting it feeds it. You simply witness it, as a thing that arrived from outside, a package you did not order, and you let it continue moving through. This is not passive. This is an act of extraordinary precision. You are beginning, for the first time, to distinguish between what the world wrote in you, and what was there before the writing began. The masks dissolve in the light of this witnessing. Slowly. Then all at once. The second stage returns you to the instrument you have been ignoring for years. Your body. The body is not a vehicle. It is not an inconvenience to be managed. It is, and this is the part the system worked hardest to erase, a sophisticated receiver. It picks up frequencies that the analytical mind cannot process. It knows things before you know them. You have felt it. That inexplicable knowing in the solar plexus. That warmth that rises when something is right. That heaviness that settles when something, despite all evidence, is wrong. The system taught you to override that signal with data. With logic. With the opinions of people who had already silenced their own sensing. This stage reactivates the receiver. Breath is the key. Not as a relaxation technique. As a literal bridge, between the body's frequency and the mind's attention. Every time you breathe with full awareness, you are re-establishing a connection that the noise of modern life severs 1,000 times a day. In this stage, you will also begin working with symbols. Not as decoration. As technology. Symbols bypass the analytical mind. They speak directly to the layer of you that existed before language. The layer that the amnesia cannot fully reach. A flame. A still pool. A door that opens inward. These are not poetic images. They are access points. When you place one of these symbols in your awareness, with intention, with breath, with stillness, something in you responds. Something that has been waiting. The awakening of inner sensing is not a mystical achievement. It is a return to a capacity you were born with and taught to distrust. The third stage is the deepest. And the most ancient. Every soul has a vibration. A signature frequency, as unique as a fingerprint, as specific as a key. The ancients understood this. Across every tradition that survived the centuries, Egyptian, Vedic, Sufi, Kabbalistic, there exists the same recognition, that your true name is not a word. It is a sound. A resonance. A note that, when struck, causes something deep in you to ring in response. The system gave you a name to be filed under. A name for forms and databases. But beneath that name, beneath all the names the world has given you, there is a frequency that predates all of it. This stage is about attuning to that frequency. Not by finding a new name. By listening beneath all the names you already carry, until you reach the vibration that has been constant underneath them all. You will know it when you feel it. It does not feel like a discovery. It feels like recognition. Like walking into a room you have always known, that you were somehow convinced did not exist. The 3 stages are not sequential steps to be completed and left behind. They are a spiral. You will return to each one, deeper each time, as the layers of the amnesia dissolve. And now, the practices. The first 7 minutes of your day are not neutral. They are a negotiation. The system knows this. That is why the phone is designed to be the first thing you reach for. The moment you let the world signal into your consciousness before you have fully returned to yourself, the amnesia reinstalls itself. This is the antidote. Before you stand. Before you speak. Before you reach for anything, lie still. Become aware of the weight of your body against the surface beneath you. Feel the specific heaviness of each limb. Notice the temperature of the air on your skin. Then ask, not the world, not your schedule, not your obligations, ask yourself, what is already true about me today, before I perform anything? Stay with the silence. Let it answer in sensation rather than words. 3 slow breaths. In through the nose, hold for 4 counts, out through the mouth. Then, and only then, you rise. You do not check the phone for the first 30 minutes. This is not a preference. It is the condition of your reclamation. These first minutes belong to the version of you that exists before the world's instructions. Guard them like the threshold of a sacred space, because that is exactly what they are. The breath is not passive. It is a precision instrument. And most people have never been taught to use it. Sit. A straight spine, not rigid, but dignified. As if the crown of your head is being drawn upward by an invisible thread. Close your eyes. Breathe in, slowly, for 6 counts. Feel the breath fill not just the chest but the entire torso. The belly expands first. Then the ribs. Then the chest. Hold, for 4 counts. In this stillness, something becomes audible that the noise ordinarily drowns. Exhale, for 8 counts. Every last molecule of air. Let the body become empty. In the emptiness, notice what remains. That awareness. That witnessing presence that is still here even when the breath is gone, that is what you are returning to. Repeat this cycle 7 times. 7, because the body knows the significance of that number, not because someone told it to, but because it is written into the architecture of living systems. On the 7th exhale, do not force the next inhale. Let it arrive on its own. Notice the moment the body chooses breath. That is the moment you remember that something in you is already choosing. Already moving. Already alive, independent of the mind's instructions. This practice rewires the connection between the analytical mind and the body's deep intelligence. Over weeks, not days, but weeks, you will begin to hear what the body has been trying to tell you for years. Every soul carries an image. A symbol that speaks directly to the layer of you that predates language, and that the amnesia cannot fully suppress. There are 3 primary symbols for this practice. You do not choose among them analytically. You allow one to choose you. The flame. Close your eyes and bring to mind a single candle flame. Small. Perfectly still. Burning in absolute darkness. This flame does not need your permission to burn. It does not require your effort or your approval. It simply is, and its nature is to give light. Notice if something in you recognizes this image. The still pool. A surface of water, perfectly undisturbed. No ripple. No wind. In its stillness, it reflects with perfect accuracy everything above it. This is the mind before the world threw stones into it. Notice if your body responds to this image. The mirror that faces inward. Not a mirror that shows you what the world sees. A mirror that shows you what you are, beneath every costume you have ever worn. Many people feel a resistance to this image. That resistance is itself information. Whichever symbol produces the strongest sensation in your body, warmth, a slight quickening, a sense of being seen, that is yours. You will return to it daily. Eyes closed. 3 breaths. Then simply, presence with the symbol, for 5 minutes. No agenda. No analysis. Just allowing it to work in the layer of you it was designed to reach. This practice requires solitude. Real solitude. Not merely silence, but the absence of performance. You are going to produce sounds with your voice. Not words. Not sentences. Sounds. Begin with a low hum. The mouth closed. Feel it vibrating in the chest. Move the pitch, slowly, incrementally, up and down. You are looking for something specific, the note that causes an unusual resonance in the body. A vibration that feels like it wants to continue on its own. When you find a pitch that produces this sensation, stay with it. Breathe. Return. Stay. Now, very slowly, allow the hum to shape itself into a vowel. Not a chosen vowel. An arrived one. Let the sound lead. Follow it. What you are doing, though it may feel strange, is what every mystical tradition has known for millennia. You are listening for the frequency beneath your name. The syllable your soul would choose, if it were given the choice. This is not a practice you complete. It is a practice that deepens. Every session brings you closer to a recognition that cannot be fully translated into language, but that the body understands completely. The evening is not the end of the day. It is a threshold. Before you surrender to sleep, before you allow unconsciousness to erase the data the day has accumulated, you sit somewhere quiet. And you conduct an inventory. Not a list of achievements. Not a ledger of failures. An honest account of presence. 3 questions. That is all. First, in how many moments today was I genuinely here, rather than performing here? Second, what arose in me today that I suppressed, redirected, or edited, and why? Third, was there a single moment when I felt, even briefly, the original signal beneath all the noise? Write the answers. By hand. There is something about the physical act of inscription that the analytical mind cannot shortcut. Do not judge what you find. Judgment is the mechanism of the amnesia. It keeps you managing your self-image instead of seeing yourself. Witness. Record. Release. The inventory is not about becoming better. It is about becoming honest. And honesty, real honesty, the kind that does not flinch, is the first condition of remembering. Once each week, you do not speak. For 4 hours. Or 8. Or, if you are ready, an entire day. This is not meditation. This is not a retreat. This is the deliberate removal of one of the amnesia's primary mechanisms, your own voice. We speak far more than we realize, and most of what we speak is not truth. It is social management. It is reputation maintenance. It is the constant, exhausting work of curating how we appear to others. When the voice goes silent, all of that falls away. And what remains is unexpectedly loud. In the first hour, restlessness. The impulse to fill space. The discomfort of not narrating. In the second hour, a peculiar settling. In the third, something surfaces that ordinarily has no airtime. Something that has been waiting. The silence is not empty. It is extraordinarily full. But it is full of you, not of the world's signal, and that is a quality of fullness you may not have experienced in years. Do not bring your phone. Do not bring your plans. Bring only the willingness to hear what has been trying to speak beneath all the noise you have been producing. The 7th practice is not separate from your life. It is your life, conducted differently. Every action you perform, every conversation, every decision, every moment of moving through space, can be performed from two locations: from the surface or from the center. Most of us live almost entirely from the surface. Reactive, responsive, managed by what arrives from outside. Living from the center is not a feeling. It is a practice, a discipline, a constant returning. It sounds like this: before you respond to a message, 1 breath. Return to the center. Then respond. Before you enter a room, 1 breath. Who am I, in this moment, before the room requires something of me? Then enter. Before you speak, especially in moments of tension, 1 breath. Is what I am about to say mine? Or is it a reaction? Then speak. Or choose silence. The pause between stimulus and response, that is where your freedom lives. Viktor Frankl found it in a concentration camp. You have the luxury of finding it in the ordinary friction of your days. Over time, this is the part that changes everything. The center stops requiring you to return to it, because you stopped leaving. The rut of routine becomes the texture of conscious living. The commute becomes a moving meditation. The difficult conversation becomes a practice of precision. The meal becomes a ritual of presence. Nothing in your external life changes, and yet everything in the experience of it transforms. That transformation is not magic. It is the natural consequence of a human being returning, fully, to their own inhabitation. Waking up is not an event. It is a hygiene. Like the care of the body, it requires daily attention, daily practice, daily choice. Because the amnesia does not give up. The system does not stop transmitting. The information will keep arriving. The noise will keep rising. The world will keep presenting you with masks that fit well enough to be comfortable. And you will have a choice, every day, in every moment, whether to wear them. The first principle of integration is what the ancients called sacred speech. You do not speak casually about what is most important to you. The frequency of your true name is not for every room. There is a reason the great mysteries were kept in silence. Not because they were secret. Because they were sacred. And the sacred requires a different quality of attention than the ordinary world is able to give. The second principle is the curation of your attention. You are not obligated to consume everything that is offered to you. The news, the outrage, the endless stream of other people's emergencies, these are not neutral inputs. They reshape the internal landscape. Be deliberate about what you allow into the space of your awareness. Not because you are fragile, but because that space is sacred ground. The third principle is this: live as if you have already remembered. Not as a pretense. Not as a performance of awakening. As a practice of precedence, acting from the version of yourself that has not forgotten, even in the moments when the amnesia whispers that you have. This is the most counterintuitive of the principles. And the most powerful. Because when you act as if you have already remembered, you create the conditions in which the remembering becomes permanent. And now, the final thing. You are here because something brought you here. Something beneath the algorithm, beneath the recommendation engine, beneath the curated feed of content designed to occupy you without requiring anything real of you. Something in you was looking. Something in you already knew. What I am asking of you now is not easy. I am asking you to meet your shadow. That part of you that the system told you was dangerous. Was too much. Was not appropriate. Was better kept hidden. The shadow is not the enemy. The shadow is the part of you that the amnesia locked away because it was the most powerful. The most original. The most irreducibly yours. The meeting with the shadow is not a comfortable encounter. There will be grief in it. There will be anger, clean, righteous anger at the years of suppression. Let it come. All of it. Because on the other side of that meeting, not far, not behind decades of inner work, just on the other side of your willingness to look, is the person who was here before the amnesia began. And that person, the original one, the one wearing no mask, the one who knows their own frequency, is not a potential you are working toward. They are a memory you are clearing space to receive. You were not born lost. You were made to forget. And you are in the process, right now, in this moment, of remembering. Do not let the world convince you otherwise. Not again.